Welcome back to Hogtown Homestead. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel so led. This is day 2 of our goat paddock project here in Newton, Kansas. As you can see, I'm wearing my Newton hat. And in yesterday's video, we finished up this fence line right here, and we're working on enclosing a paddock for goats. The reason we chose this location is that it was going to be the easiest location for us to actually secure the fastest. So here's what we're dealing with today. That is the fence that we built yesterday, and it ties into this fence here. There's a gap here, and we'll probably need 3 or 4 of those panels to close the gap, because you can see where Mike is standing. That's where the fence becomes solid once again. So we're gonna close up this gap. We gotta cut down a lot of this brush. We gotta limb that eastern red cedar. And we have existing panels in this paddock already. So this one has some trees growing through it, but we should be able to just chop those down and extricate this panel out of that tangle. Got this panel free. It had big roots, about that big around, that were anchoring it in that corner there. So we had to get a spade and a shovel and dig it out. But we got it done. And now we're gonna put it up. Okay, so far we have 24 feet done, and it's so hot right now. We're gonna go in, take a break, and rejoin the effort when it gets cooler this afternoon. So probably see you around evening time.
More after this.
All right, folks, we have cooled off, let the sun go down a little bit, as you can see there with my beer in the background. And we are going to be harvesting this panel to take back to the goat paddock that we have been working so diligently on for the last 2 days. So here we go.
It's time to eat.
Is it supper time?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Jesse.
We're gonna pick this back up tomorrow morning. We're back. It's the next morning. Fair warning. That rhymed, by the way. There's gonna be some wind noise in today's video. Because it's Kansas. And you can't escape it. So we'll give you the real life experience as much as we can. But we are here and we are going to finish up this fencing project, and here's what we have to do. We gotta fence in this gap. And before we do that, we gotta clear this thorny tree and then several other little thorny trees as well. So that's what we gotta do to free up that panel there. Once we get that freed up, we're just gonna swing it over, hook it up to that T-post, and this is a secure goat paddock. So stay tuned, we're almost done, folks. I want to lay out the tools that you'll need for this kind of project, as well as some important first steps that we never walked through. So stay tuned. We're going to do that really quickly. This will also be a separate video, walking through a prospective paddock, as well as the tools you'll need to fence it in. So that's going to be in this video, but also a separate video as well if you just want to get to the meat and potatoes of that. So here we go. So here are the tools, and the only tools that we used for this project. Gloves. As you can see, you need them because those would have spared me from hurting my finger. Fencing pliers. You can get those for pretty cheap. You can also get pretty expensive ones. We recommend the cheap ones because they still work. You'll need a tape measure. You'll need some lopping shears. You'll need a shovel, as well as a little spade. You'll need some chainsaw gas, some bar oil, and you'll need a chainsaw. Then you will also need 14 gauge steel wire. Do not get the aluminum wire because it sucks beer. So maybe you find yourself as the proud new owner of a piece of property, a lot like Micah's, where it used to have cross fencing, used to be completely fenced in, but due to years and years of neglect, is no longer functioning fence line. The first thing that you need to do in a situation like that is walk through your prospective paddock. So here's where we started with this paddock. So this was our initial introduction to this goat paddock. You can see a 16-foot vehicle gate. You can see a little previously used walk-in gate. To the side of this vehicle gate is another place for a potential walk-in gate. Now, this fence was already existing. So if you are on a piece of property like Micah's that has fencing already put up, you need to walk that fence. And I understand from personal experience the trepidation in potentially walking through all this stuff. You're gonna get stuck, scratched, stung in places you don't want that to happen, but it's gonna happen anyways. So get it over with and walk this entire fence line. Even where it gets difficult, like that tangle, we walked through that. And we did that to make sure that we were only doing the work necessary for the goal that we had in mind. We came over here through these woods behind this goat shed. We're calling it a goat shed now, right?
Yeah.
It's not a horse barn? Okay.
Definitely
Goat shed. Then we walked through this and you can see all this tan stuff on the ground. By the way, if any of you know what this is, leave it in a comment section down below, because we were walking all through this, as you can see, knocking it down as we could, and this stuff is like 7 feet tall. But it's super brittle. Anyways, we then walked around this area, and obviously in places where you can't get all the way through, you know, we didn't walk through that, but we can use our eyes to see that that doesn't need to be fixed. It's totally enclosed. Now here, Micah might want to drive a stake in the ground and anchor that to the ground. But we have a perfectly capable woven wire fence right there. We walked through all of this like so. Got over to here, and Micah had done some clearing in this area, but we saw this fence and declared, didn't just say it, we declared that it was good enough for goats. A lot of poison ivy there, Micah. So we came up to the corner, saw that they were using this giant tree as a natural fence post. So we declared it good again. Came over, and this is the rest of the existing fence line that we looked at. Same panels that we used, and we walked all up and down it to make sure that it was secure all the way around. Since I've already walked through all that, I'm not gonna do that for you. You have to do that on your property. But we came over here, saw that this was secure, this corner, done. And this is where we salvaged another piece of, this is where we were chainsawing just this morning. So anyways, this was a previously made smaller paddock than we had it, than we made. But it would have been more work for us to secure that than the section that we did. All this stuff is important for you to do. So you make sure you get the tools, and make sure that you walk the perimeter. If you have a pre-existing fence line, walk the perimeter and use what's already there, because that's going to save you time and money. Also, some of the resources that you have on hand may be warped, like this S-shaped panel, cattle panel, horse panel, goat panel, whatever you want to call it. And so this is not a straight fence line by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a secure fence line. So here's our corner. This is the work that we did today. We closed in. All we had to do was run a corner of this panel from that gate this way to this corner where there was a pre-existing fence, and then to here. And now we harvested all of this, as you know, from the front of Micah's property. Like I said before, use the resources that you have on hand. So if you have recently become the new owner of a piece of property like Micah's, walk around it, gather the resources that you need, walk around the paddock that you want to set up, get your tools, and get to work. Grab a friend, grab a beer, and do the job. It goes a lot quicker than you might think. All right, that's gonna do it for today's episode here on Hogtown Homestead in Newton, Kansas. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.